Hi, my name is Jo Hadley. This is my podcast, Being a Human Lighthouse. I'm a somatic counselor, an energy medicine practitioner, and I use these podcasts not so much to teach or be didactic about what I learn, but more about showing how I am human like everybody else and am doing the steps and the processes myself for my own life and for my own progression and healing and my own path to what I think we all are on as humans is the path to our inner self, to see and meet our true selves, our souls. What blocks us is often all the patterns and traumas and beliefs that are often faulty, or emotions that have been trapped in our energy field and within our cellular structures that we haven't been able to integrate, and that keep perpetuating patterns and outer experiences until we learn to integrate them. Over centuries and multiple, multiple generations, humanity as a whole and as individuals, we've accumulated a lot of unprocessed energy and emotions in our energy system, our energy bodies, within our cellular structures. These get passed on epigenetically until somebody managed to integrate them. And whoever integrates them not only for themselves, but also for their ancestors. And it also creates less work to do for the souls that are in that lineage or born to that person in the future. So whenever we do healing work, we're not only helping ourselves in the present moment, but we're healing the past and ensuring the future is a little bit healthier, happier, filled with more joy and less drama and trauma than it would be if we haven't dealt with those issues. No pressure because life just keeps going on generation after generation. So it's nothing to be guilty about. We get there in our own time, but it is a process that I believe we're all going through. I know I'm going through it. I see it in others. It's something that I have opened up to and awakened to. And I've noticed myself this time last week, the energies and feelings of intensity in my body were quite strong. I was feeling very low about life, about myself, about everything, about my journey. I was doubting everything. This is how it works. These patterns come to the fore, and these emotions that haven't been integrated come to the fore. And when we're ready, we have to process them and integrate them. I was blessed to have friends and family listen to me, allow me to cry out the pain that I was feeling this time last week. And just being allowed to experience those emotions and being witnessed in them and giving myself permission to feel them and experience them and letting others see them was ultimately healing. A couple of things happened, like a week later, my life, nothing in the outer circumstances has really changed, but the inner circumstances are completely different. I feel much more at peace, much more hopeful, much more optimistic this week. Yet nothing has really changed. And that is often just a sign of how this process is working. When we're ready for something, it comes to the surface and the unpleasant stuff. It's not that it's bad. It's not that life has got worse. It's more that we are ready to address these energies that have been in our body. They've been in the body all along, but now we have the capacity and the awareness and the skills to see them and allow it to transmute into an integrated whole. Now, it took me a few days, and there was a few different things that helped catalyze that energy. The most important being my friends and family who were great witnesses to my pain and gave me unconditional love and support through that time. Also, just indulging in some hobbies and things that really brought me joy was important to rekindle that spark and to allow myself to feel low and to allow myself to be in that space without trying to change it. And after a couple of days, I noticed a couple of synchronicities happened. And when those synchronicities happened, it's like I lost the dark, heavy energies. And it was like I was lifted up to a lighter, higher energy. And I could see how I was being shown by the universe, some synchronistic signs to show me that the universe was listening to me and that I'd actually jumped up a level. I remember feeling particularly low. When I do feel low, I do go within, meditate, feel the sensations, but I also ask and request my angels and guides or spirit to assist me with the sensations that I'm experiencing and just give me a sign. And I was walking to work one day and I clearly saw a sign in a number plate. I know I get my signs from the universe and from my angels and guides, often with big advertising displays, number plates, stickers, often often that way. It's very common. People can get signs in all sorts of different ways. Yesterday I was in a store and a song that had been in my head for a while, but I hadn't heard and had played in my head a bit. Every time I'd felt doubtful, every time I felt down, I thought, oh, there's a song that is I haven't heard for years and escapes me who sings it, but it was Don't Worry, Child. Heaven has a place for you, or a plan for you, I should say. And it's interesting, I was in a store yesterday and that song was being played. I stayed in the store a little bit longer just to hear it because, again, I knew that was a sign from the universe for me. That song, or the idea of that song, had popped into my head a few weeks earlier. And I'd meant to look it up and listen to it, but I never got round to it. And so having it just play spontaneously in the store, I went, okay, I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. And I should just relax and not try to allow my ego to take control and try and steer me in directions that it thinks it should be steered in. I did see a wonderful number plate on the way to work, and I instantly knew, just with what I read, that that was a sign from my angels that they had responded to my request. And that instantly lifted my energy. It made me feel lighter and less dark and heavy. Changed my mood immediately. I also found on YouTube, I like to think YouTube every now and then throws things up that I know is just a nice sign from the universe. And I got to listen to some interviews by a fellow called Dr. David Clements. And I really needed to hear what he was saying this week because it reinforced for me, even though he was saying in his way and gave a couple of new aspects to ideas and beliefs that I'd heard before, he was saying the same thing, but in his own unique gift and skill was talking about something that I hadn't heard about before. And that was about, he called living energy consciousness. And talking about how technology and how we're going towards seeing how matter and everything actually can respond in consciousness and how it can be used. He also, probably more importantly for me, his journey from being a physicist and mathematician into this area of consciousness and higher questioning of what the purpose of life is. It was great to see that his journey, he discussed it and talked about it in very similar language to what I would use. We started off on the same scientific path, and again, both realized there has to be something more. There was things that are missing. And he described how he's on the other side of having to release all these faulty beliefs and traumas and patterning, ancestral and an individual. And you could see the joy and excitement just radiating from him. But listening to his story was really, really helpful for me because I am still don't think I'm on the other side. I haven't truly 100% know I'm living from my soul just yet. And hearing people who have got there inspires me to know I'm on the right path because there's so many people that have not awakened to these ideas. There's many people yet that this is all wacky stuff, that think you're crazy, people in different levels of understanding. So the further I go down the path, it does get harder to find people who are further ahead. And so it's always reassuring for me to know that I am on the right path. And there are other people out there ahead of me doing similar journeys, expressing things in a similar way. And that's very satisfying to me. Because sometimes when you're out there and it's very lonely, the more you travel this path at the moment, it does seem lonely because there's fewer and fewer people who know what you're talking about. It's like if you're in grade 12 at school and you're trying to explain to a kindergartner what you're experiencing, they're not going to understand. Eventually, they're going to get there because we're all going through those phases. So it's not that one's better than another. It's just when you're ahead on the journey and exploring the new, often people don't understand that. So for me, it's always been so reassuring to hear people who are ahead of me, even just a little way on the journey, to know that I need to keep going. I'm on the right path. Things are okay. I often have a war within myself. Is there a block blocking me from doing what I really truly want to do within my heart? What I have this feeling and image in my mind that I would like to do? Or am I actually on the right path and all the tools and techniques I've learned aren't necessarily to do what I think they're for? It may be something that I have not yet been made aware of yet. It's really simple to think that you are going to do something based on all the things that have happened in the past and the known world. But anyone that invents anything new or creates anything new, they're producing something that wasn't there before, something that no one else had thought of. So I often catch myself, and caught myself a lot today as I was walking, thinking that I've been getting so upset and angry that I'm not being able to create the type of work that I thought I was supposed to create. But then I have this war with myself. I thought, okay, maybe I'm meant to do that, or maybe I'm blocking it. Or perhaps all the tools and techniques I've learned are not for what I thought I was going to create, because that was only what I was known in my mind. That was the highest type of work that I could do in my known mind, the ego mind. When you're creating from something new, you don't know what it is until it suddenly unfolds. When I heard David Clements talking about this, it made me realize that, yes, perhaps I'm not failing. Perhaps I'm not blocked. Perhaps the doors are closed because that's just a limited pathway. And it's the only pathway I know in my limited ego mind from what it's experienced before. But as I'm learning this information exponentially fast, perhaps it's all going to be just fuel for something new that has yet to be fully explained and shown to me. I don't know which one's right. I can only tell in hindsight, but that's where I am today. As I was on my walk today, I also was reminded about how much doubt I have in myself. And doubt that has come because I've often had these ideas from when I was very young, but they've just been squashed by others. My mother, who I was very close to, I used to often tell her when I was young that I could see the potential for humanity. It was so simple how we could all create a world that was loving, caring, supportive, and much nicer. And she would laugh at me and say, there's no such thing as utopia. And I've managed to keep this little seed inside me that truly believes that humanity could change in an instant if it just changed its focus, its attention, its faulty belief patterns, the ego that drives everything, and a lot of the systems that are running the world. And if we just switched this attention and adopted truer belief patterns of what's true, what our souls are capable of, yes, we can create utopia on earth. And I know we are in the midst of creating that now. There's lots of talk about awakening, consciousness raising. And as we raise consciousness, it exponentially expands the energy available to all of us. And when the energy field of the whole world rises, it can't help but lift everyone else up. The people at the beginning who do all the kind of hard work, the first stages, it can be very tough, but the more people who get to do this work makes it easier for everyone else. A similar analogy is the 4 Minute Mile with Roger Bannister. It took so long and seemed impossible for someone to break the 4 Minute Mile barrier. But once he did, loads of other people did it very soon afterwards. Often these belief systems and barriers are in our mind, and when we break through, it becomes easier for all of us to see that the belief was faulty and that we can actually move ahead. There's a few things I used to say when I was younger that I guess created my self-doubt because everyone around me just thought it was crazy. Even now, when I've some friends in Sydney would often tell me that nothing's ever going to change because it always stays the same. And I don't bother arguing, but I know with consciousness, with the energy of consciousness, and I know that more and more people are opening to this. I see it everywhere. I see it in the Substack posts. I see it on YouTube podcasts. I see how people, much the younger generations, are talking about the spiritual and the energy on a much deeper and higher level than anything that was around when I was younger. These things are happening, but we also tend to focus on the not so pleasant stuff that's happening. We often don't get reported all the higher vibrations and the good intentions and the good works that are happening in the background. But there are many, many wonderful people doing wonderful work all around the world. So I know we're heading in that direction. And from the spiritual esoteric world that I sometimes live in, because I like to listen to all sorts of worlds. I hear there, they describe how we're going through an awakening, a rising of the consciousness of humanity, and how we're all basically learning to live from our soul, which has been covered up by these multi-generational layers of energy that has been not processed or integrated. And that resonates with me because I just know in my heart that there's a soul in each of us and there's a perfect version of us. And I know that that's blocked. It's inside me, but it's blocked by all these faulty beliefs from my ancestors, from myself, from beliefs that formed in childhood. So I've been doing lots of inner child work, sitting with my emotions, learning to be present, allowing. And I know that my level of consciousness has shifted. And this week I felt the jump. And unfortunately, when we are jumping levels, and it can often be misinterpreted as things that are going wrong. Because last week when I felt absolutely miserable and down and that, I just felt stuck in life and nothing was working, I was wrong, everything was wrong. That's often a sign that we're jumping to a new level and we're seeing all the old stuff that's falling off and falling away. And as long as we don't buy into it and believe it, if we just allow it to be and we find the joy and the peace and the serenity and the presence to observe and witness these energies like shame and guilt and fear that are falling away, we can allow ourselves to then move into this new layer, a new dimension, the new light vibration that we're at. And then we should feel lighter. We should feel more hopeful, more joy, more peace. And so that is where I am this week. I'll finish off my podcast this week with my healing meditation. It's designed to allow us to be a bridge between the spiritual and the material world, and for us to activate our heart wisdom, connect to our soul, and to just gently see and maybe even integrate a little bit of the patterns and energies that are stuck in our energy bodies and our cellular structures. Healing or meditation work requires attention. It requires presence. So doing nothing else but just sitting in silence or lying in silence is important. If you can sit or lie down, you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Place your hand over your heart, because it's the heart center that is the powerful energetic activator to accessing our own soul and connecting with our own inner wisdom and the innate healing system. So I invite you just to notice how you're supported by the material world. Feel the pressure of the chair or the bed that you're lying on. Feel how your body is supported, the weight is taken. If you're seated, feel how your feet are planted on the floor. You can wiggle your toes and just become aware of the sensations in the feet as they're moving on the floor. To ground yourself to the physical and to Gaia, you can imagine that there's ropes going from the soles of your feet to the center of the earth, and you're tying yourself to the center of the earth, truly connected to the physical world. Now I invite you to imagine you've got another rope or a cord coming from the crown of your head, crown chakra, and it's connecting right out to the great central sun, the center of the universe. So now you're connected above to all that is in the universe and below to the material world that supports us in this human life. Now, if you can imagine you're breathing in and out, low and slow, filling up every cell in your body with light, love, information. Imagine it's coming in through your heart center and filling up every cell in your body. And as you breathe out, imagine you're letting go of all the faulty beliefs, toxins, any patterns that no longer serve you. Breathe in, fill up every cell in your body with light, love, information, wisdom. And breathe out all the toxins, faulty beliefs and patterns that no longer serve you. As you breathe in and you fill yourself up with the light and wisdom and love from the universe, notice how your body feels. Do you feel like you're lighting up like a light source? Do you feel any changes? Perhaps you feel lighter in weight. Do you feel more peaceful? Just notice as you breathe in what's happening in your body. As you notice what's happening in your body, maybe you're becoming aware of sensations that may be not pleasant. They may be attached to emotions like shame or guilt, fear, anxiety. Just notice them. Just notice that they're sensations. If they are attached to the emotions, notice that the emotions are represented by these sensations. Just step back and witness them. Don't try to change them. Just be curious. Just remind yourself you're just sitting, observing sensations in your body, even if they're unpleasant. If they're too unpleasant or too overwhelming, you have the choice to open your eyes. Just tune into your feet on the floor. Or listen to the sounds around you. Really tune into your 5 senses just to ground you back into the present moment. But if it's not overwhelming, just stay with those sensations. Just allow them to be there. Do they change? Do they move? Just be curious. This is your body talking to you. And your witnessing is allowing these unprocessed emotions and patterns to be seen and to be integrated. Previously, they've always been there, but they were unconscious. And when they're unconscious, they can drive our behaviors, create reactions, and basically run the show. But once we sit with them and we're still, and we allow them to be observed with non-judgment and curiosity, they lose their power. They no longer are unconscious. And what we become aware of, we can change. And we can allow it to integrate. Now, if your hand's on your heart still, I just invite you to take a few more breaths in through that heart center and change your focus of attention. Instead of focusing on the unpleasant sensations, just become aware of the heart center as you breathe in. Can you imagine a time in your life that you felt joy or peace or excitement? Try to imagine that time and that feeling, how great it was to feel that joy or that love or that peace. I invite you just to take some time to breathe in and really remember that time of your greatest joy, your greatest peace, And notice how it feels in the body. And again, with curiosity and non-judgment, just become aware of that sensation and how it is manifested in the body when you feel joy, peace, love, contentment, safety. Fill up every cell in your body with that sensation. Now, as this meditation comes to an end, just take a couple more breaths. Become aware of any changes that you've noticed from when we started. Become aware of your feet on the floor. You can move your toes if you like. You can wiggle in the chair or the bed. And when you're ready, you can just gently open your eyes. Has there been a change? Do you feel a little lighter, a little bit more peaceful? Or maybe some emotions have been stirred up. Remember when things get stirred up to be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and know that they're coming up to be witnessed and that they're ready to heal. If things are too overwhelming, sometimes a trauma therapist or a therapist of some sort can be of great service to assist. So I hope you have a wonderful week. And from me to you, I will talk to you next week.